My name is Rizwan Virk, and I am currently a PhD student and a faculty associate at Arizona State University. And the book is called The Simulation Hypothesis. An MIT computer scientist shows why AI, quantum physics, and Eastern mystics agree we are in a video game. Well, a few years ago, after I had sold my last video game startup, I was playing a virtual reality game of ping pong. So I had the VR headset on, and I was playing this game, and it was so realistic that it fooled my brain into thinking that I was playing a real game of table tennis. And so much so that I tried to put the paddle down on the table and I tried to lean against the table. But of course, there was no table. It was all virtual. And so I thought that if my mind or my brain could be fooled into thinking it was in a virtual reality, where will this technology go over the next few years, few decades, even few centuries, and that we would get to a point where we could create virtual worlds that are indistinguishable from physical reality. And so as I started to explore different aspects of this, I realized we may already be inside a virtual reality. So the main argument of the book is that what we think of as the physical world is not really physical at all, that it actually consists of information. And even the quantum physicists, when they look for this thing called matter, physical matter, they can't find it. The only thing they can find, what we call particles, is actually answers to yes-no questions or bits of information. And so, between what the physicists have said and what all the major religions have been telling us, that the physical world is not the real world. The main argument of the book is that we will at some point be able to create virtual worlds that are extremely realistic, like those that are depicted in the Matrix. And in fact, we may already be in one, and both science and religion seem to agree on this point that the physical world is not the real world. Well, the first part of the book is dedicated to what I call the simulation point, which is a theoretical point. It's a technological singularity at some point in the future when we will be able to create highly realistic virtual worlds that are populated by AI that we can't distinguish between real versus artificial, and that may even be generated by AI, and that we can represent the entire world as information that is rendered like in a video game. And the stages for us to get there, we're about halfway to those stages. The second part of the book looks at the different findings of quantum physics, the Copenhagen interpretation, the multiverse interpretation of quantum mechanics, as well as different aspects of relativity, to find that they are generally in agreement with some of the ideas of the simulation hypothesis. And then the third part of the book is all about different religions of the world, whether it's the religions within the Judeo-Christian and Islamic traditions, or it's the Eastern traditions of Hinduism and Buddhism, where there's a soul that goes into the body. And so I do a deep dive into that. And then finally, I wrap it up by talking about some of the experiments that have been done and some of the indications that we might actually be a simulation. Well, so after writing the simulation hypothesis, I wrote a second book called The Simulated Multiverse. And the idea was that if we could be in one simulation, there's no reason we couldn't be in multiple simulations. And then I wrote a book called Wisdom of a Yogi, which is looking at some of the ancient yogic traditions and how what they've been saying relates to the simulation. And in the future, I'll be writing more about different religions and how they relate to the simulation, and including a big piece of Islam and the simulation hypothesis in that.